I think to myself, he done fucked up our world. Oh, yeah. I want you to understand these train crash derailments and number of things that's going on. If you don't mind, just take a look at this.
I'm showing a molecule of vinyl chloride. It contains hydrogen, carbon, and chlorine. That's it. Just those three elements. Vinyl chloride is what was on the trains. It's considered an industrial waste, but not an insanely toxic waste product. You can deal with vinyl chloride. You can, you can put it into tanker cars and you can deal with it. You can incinerate it somewhere else in a proper hazardous waste facility. That's what was on the trains. When they set fire to it, and I learned this from Eric Coppolino, who's going to be joining us, when they set fire to it, and I've confirmed this, I have EPA documents confirming this, they created this molecule in the fire, which is on the right. This is the most toxic molecule ever created by man. It's 2378 TCDD. It's one dioxin of a class of dioxins. And you'll notice that oxygens are inserted into the center of this molecule. It has the carbons, the hydrogens, and now chlorine on both ends. 4 chlorine atoms, and that creates armor. In essence, a chemical armor where this molecule is practically indestructible like Teflon. This molecule is a disruptor of every system in the human body.
So it doesn't break down like radiation?
It will not break down. It doesn't have a half-life like radiation. It is considered a persistent bioaccumulative toxin. That's called a PBT by the EPA. Persistent means it doesn't go away. Bioaccumulative means that it accumulates up the food chain.
Accumulates up the food chain.
Grass is eaten by the cows, goes into the cow fat cells. It ends up in the milk, the cheese, the meat, the eggs, and so on. And then as a toxin, it interferes with everything. Fertility. It causes cancer. It causes spontaneous abortions, deformities. Just let me repeat. When they set fire to the vinyl chloride, they turned it into a chemical weapons factory that unleashed TCDD. And then they called this a controlled burn, which is a lie. It's not a controlled burn. It was a chemical factory, a chemical bomb on America, an act of ecological terrorism.
And there were, in fact, 5 cars of polyvinyl chloride, 4 cars of PVC.
Now, I want to discuss that just a bit because there could have been there was better solutions. Making the situation worse by introducing thermite. Oh my gosh. And they said it was a controlled burn. It was not a controlled burn because when you have a controlled burn, you control the elements that the burn has access to. So, like I said, as an intelligence officer of my organization, what I thought of doing something totally different. My first suggestion was going to be, I'm an excavator, I can operate an excavator. So to take some excavators and dig out a large hole where to put the tanker that was heating up, and then they have something. I think it's kind of like rolled concrete. Basically, you roll it out, and you can roll it in the shape of a bowl, and then you wet it, and it quickly dries. And I said, okay, let's make a container, dig out the hole, make a slow leak container there, and then superheat some glass and coat that with glass after the concrete is dry to give a retaining wall of thick glass and concrete. Okay, then set the doggone tanker inside there, and then Google monolithic domes. You can quickly, in a day or two, you set up a ring and then you inflate the dome tarp real tight. You put up your support struts, and then you aircrete the dome. So now you have a containment dome. Okay, you can drill a
don't really
couple
understand the
holes,
peril
you
that
know,
they're in.
to
I don't really understand.
uh, a couple holes to introduce other elements that would cool, or in other words, contain the fire, instead of just wholesale starting the doggone fire without any containments, and then just creating dioxin. One of the worst dioxins that you can have, as you just heard, it doesn't have a half-life. This is a permanent dioxin that's in the water table, the Ohio River. Now, though I've done some time in Ohio, in Time Warner, and a number of others. But that Ohio River also comes on down and links to the Mississippi River. And so if the Ohio River is linking to the Mississippi, then we've got dioxins on the way. And so the way to have, I think, contained the situation was to use the excavators to dig out a trench, lay that carpet concrete that you just roll right out, wet, and it hardens. Okay, then heat up that glass. And the reason why I say use the glass is because we know in nuclear spills, glass enclosed was you're able to help contain that issue. And so you contained it instead of creating what you've now done. So the rail system was established as a free land grant. But I find it very interesting that Norfolk and Southern would have a buyback of over $50 billion shortly before this train wreck. Now understand the buyback. It's like they're buying back a stock buyback. They're buying back $50 billion in stock. And why would they begin to do that? Well, sometimes if you put insurance out on a thing and you know something's going to happen, and then you're going to get the rewards from that insurance claim, you want people dividing that pot as possible. Could that be possible? Because that's what happened in 9/11 at the tower. The insurance, they boosted the insurance up right before the towers went down. And there's two connections. Why are they using thermite again? Now, in the 9/11 scenario, we know that thermite was used to cut those columns because you had literally the whole building was steel girders, not just on the outside but all through the thing. So a plane can't down that. But when you have thermite, and thermite can cut through metal like butter. And remember in 9/11, the first responders was talking about the river of metal flowing down underneath the city, that because the thermite was still burning the metal. So here again in Ohio, they're using thermite. Now, why would you use something that burns so hot to contain a fire? Why would you use something that burns so hot to contain a fire? And how can you say it was containment when you had no containment? You can't say it was an accident. You did it on purpose. You can't say there was a containment because you could have done as simple things as I've talked about: dug out a hole, set them in there, create a dome, and then smother the damn thing and do what you're going to do. Instead, we have literally, as he said, they created a chemical a warfare chemical plant that fueled our or contaminated our water supply. You know, and I don't know if you just followed before that. I was talking about how they've poisoned the whole web of life. And now look at this example. So that's my comment. What's yours? You what? I forgot the main thing. You know, whenever you're going to report, you also should challenge. You got to end with a challenge. And my challenge is, rewind this and listen to what I was suggesting should have been done to contain this spill. Okay. So, what if we revived our think tank where we all come in and weigh in on how to solve problems? And I think we should do that immediately and then fund the suggestion. And so you can donate at Play Cash Cab, $ Play Cash Cab on the Cash App. But we need to have these kind of solutions at the ready, so that we're not dealing with these kind of atrocities. And I ask you to stay tuned, let other folks know that good things are going on. Be a part of the solution, you know. Be a part of the evolving solution. Get in where you fit in, and let's think up, link up, and leverage to create a better, safer community. I'm Anthony. Take care. I think to myself, you done fucked up our world.